Love lives here.
So we are Centers for Spiritual Living. Here at Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, we are working with the theme this year, the 2021 theme this year of Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And this month we are working with the theme of Pulled by Vision. Pulled by the vision. But before we get any further, how about we do our focus statement? Sound good? All right, so what letter are we doing today? What? A? A. Okay. So we're going to do this with all the A's. So awesomeness. What else? What? Audaciously. Audacious. What? Audacious. Attitude. All right. We'll do it with attitude, awesomeness, audaciousness. All right. Audacity, whatever. All right. Here we go. So we embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Yes. And good morning, Matthew Taylor. Great to see you too. Hey, buddy. All right. So this morning we are working with, this whole month we're working with the theme of Pulled by Vision. So back in March, we talked about visioning. Well, I talk about visioning a lot because that's my life. But at any rate, we talked about visioning, right? Back in March, we talked about the practice, the spiritual practice of visioning, and what is involved in that, and the way we do that. And what visioning is it's an opening up to the highest idea, Spirit's highest idea for our lives, or for our center, or for a project, or whatever it is that we're working with. But we're opening up to Spirit's highest idea. We're setting aside our little manini idea, that's Hawaiian for small, little small ideas, our small self. We set that aside because that small self can be limited. And so we open up to the greater idea, the greater yet to be, the highest idea, Spirit's highest idea of itself as our life, right? That's what the visioning process is. It's a meditative process where we connect and we anchor, we center in oneness, we anchor in love, and then we open and we listen for Spirit to speak, right? Because what we know here at Centers for Spiritual Living, and what we affirm here at Centers for Spiritual Living, is anyone can be a direct revealer of the truth who is in alignment with the indwelling presence. Because what do we know? That the indwelling presence, the highest most God and the innermost God, is one. It's one and the same. So when we open up, we're opening to a higher idea, but that higher idea is actually coming through from within us, right? It's not coming outside us. It's not like, talking to the clouds and saying, hey, cloud, what in wisdom do you have for me? It's a turning within. It's an opening from within that expresses outward. Yes? So with this high idea of visioning, ooh, Lordy. All right, with the high idea of visioning, when we get into this space, the sacred space, we open up and we allow and we receive. And what we know is that when we come into alignment with the vision, when we bring ourselves into alignment by that which we are called to release or that which we are called to embrace, when we come into alignment with the vision, then the vision pulls us to it, right? The vision is pulling us to it, hence pulled by vision. So the vision is pulling us toward it. We're not trying to make the vision happen. We're not trying to manifest it. We're not trying to manipulate anything. We're not trying to make the vision itself happen. The vision already is. The vision already exists. What's ours to do is to come into alignment with it. And as we come into alignment with it, as we let go of those things, like we were just singing, oh, I gotta let go, right? As we let go of those things that are apparently showing up as obstacles, those false beliefs, those false ideas, those mind tricks, if you will, that we play with ourselves, as we let go of those things, we come into a greater alignment with Spirit, with the highest idea, and then we are pulled forward to it rather than trying to manipulate it and bring it to us, right? That's a brief, very fast overview of visioning and the way that works. Yes? All right, good. So today, the question then is your commitment greater than your resistance? Ooh, yes, exactly, Bill, right? So I have a question for you, and we'll get back to that question in a moment. So have you ever had this really great idea? Like this super duper, wow, amazing idea. And you think, wow, this could change the world. Or if not the world, it could at least change my life, or it might change, my neighborhood or my center or what have you, that, wow, this idea is really, really good. And then the more you think about that idea, it's like, well, it is a really good idea, but it seems like it's a lot of work. And, if I have this idea or we follow through with this idea, then it means, I've got to do this, or I got to do that, or I got to do this other thing. And all of a sudden, we start talking ourselves out of it. We start talking to ourselves, not from principle, but from precedent of like, this is going to be a lot more work than what I thought it was going to be. And am I really up to the task for this work? I don't know about that, right? So we kind of get into a little bit of a resistance of like, we almost shut it down sometimes before it even has a chance to get off the ground, because the idea is so big, the idea is so great, but then we come to realize that, this might mean I have to change, right? This might mean I have to transform, right? That's a little bit more work maybe than what I want to do for this high idea. It means I might have to let go of attachments. Oh, no. Right? It means that something is calling me forward, but I'm going to have to release something, or I'm going to have to become something different, or I'm going to have to change and transform into something new. I don't know about that. So resistance starts coming in, kind of creeping into the high idea. Or maybe you've got this great idea, this high vision that comes and you receive it. It's like, oh, wow, I so want to do that. I so want to participate in that. I so want to be the vehicle, the vessel through which this comes into fruition. I think this is fantastic. And there's laundry, and there's work, and then there's the dishes, yeah. Or, I got to make dinner, or, I got to take the dogs out, or, I have to prepare the lessons for my kids at home because we're still from home, teaching from home, or we're online, or, or, any number of things. And life somehow kind of gets in the way, right? That there's this, it just kind of like intercedes. And so you begin thinking like, you know what? Okay, I can't do it right this minute. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I'll do it next week. And next week comes, all right, still not really much time, so I'll do it next month. And becomes next year, becomes, right? So resistance shows up in that way too, where we are not necessarily as committed to the idea as we're resisting it, because we're not really prioritizing the idea, we're not really prioritizing the vision. And so, or prioritizing what we need to do to align ourselves with the vision. And so it just kind of like goes by the wayside too, right? And how does that feel? Okay, it's now been 3 years since I had this idea. It's now been 5 years since I had this idea. I don't know if it'll ever come true now or not, right? Or if it'll ever come into fruition. So this title of, is your commitment greater than your resistance? That question, is your commitment greater than your resistance, has been with me since at least 2012, 2013, somewhere in that time frame. And as you know, I'm the chair of the Global Themes team, so in planning this year's themes for Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, it was like, oh yeah, this is a question to ask on July 11th, which it happens to be 7-Eleven Slurpee Day, so there you go. But this is a question to ask during all of this. Is your commitment greater than your resistance? You see, about, back in 2012, 2013, I had just completed practitioner training, and I was in my first year of ministerial studies. And it was after service at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. And I was tired. I was just like worn out. And I was tired after all those years of practitioner studies, of looking at all the things in the shadows and flipping the light of consciousness on it and awakening on it, and like watching all those little things scatter into the corners like, cockroaches do when you flip on a light. I was like, oh, I'm just so tired of this. I'm so exhausted. And I was sharing this with my friend, Reverend Colleen. She wasn't Reverend Colleen at the time, so she was Colleen at the time, but we were standing outside in the courtyard and by the bathrooms, because where else are you going to have a conversation other than outside the bathrooms, right? So we were standing outside the bathrooms in the courtyard. And I was just telling Colleen, I was like, keha, 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 monku, 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 complain, right? And I'm so tired. And she's 5'2", but she has this poise and this stature that makes her seem like she's 8 feet tall. And so she's still looking up at me, and she just asked this question, or rather, Spirit asked the question through her. Is your commitment greater than your resistance? Is your commitment greater than your resistance? Well, obviously, my commitment's greater than my resistance was, but the question stayed with me, because like when I first asked that and Bill went, ooh, right? It's a question. So what I know, what I've come to know, what I've come to understand is the commitment, my commitment to my call, to the call upon my life, my commitment to the high idea of my life, to what was revealed through me, what was revealed as me, is far greater than my resistance to whatever is standing in the way or to whatever is in front of me. And as we've talked about a few weeks ago, that sometimes what's in the way is the way, right? What's in the way presents an opportunity to be curious about something, to say, why is this showing up? What is this here for me? What is the opportunity for growth here in this moment? Why is this here? And so we have the opportunity then to go into what we call spiritual discernment and ask, so is my commitment greater than my resistance? And if it is, then what opportunity is here for me? Because what I know is that the vision, the high idea, love itself will win. It will come through. It will fulfill itself. Now, whether you choose to be the open vessel through which it fulfills itself or not is another question. But the vision, the high idea, when Spirit has this high idea, Spirit is going to find a way to bring it forth into fruition. So why not let it be you? Right? Yes? Okay. I was like, ooh, I'm resisting that. So why not let it be you, right? Because the commitment. So the commitment then is greater than the resistance when we are able to realize and remember and recollect why it is that we're here. What the high idea is, what the high vision is that you may have received back in March or that you've been working with for a lifetime now. What that high idea is, and to remember, to recollect, to go, oh yeah, right. This is my purpose. This is my calling. And my commitment isn't necessarily to the stuff. My commitment is actually to my spiritual growth. My commitment is actually to my transformation. My commitment is to spirit. My commitment then is to myself with a capital S. Yes? So there are other times when we encounter something where it's like, I don't know why I said yes to this. I don't know why I am here. I don't know what was I thinking when I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Right? And we are like, and because when it comes down to it, it's like, oh no, why am I doing this? What did I say? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? Right? Because sometimes what happens is our commitment then is to a material thing or to another person, and it is something that, may have sounded good at the time, but our commitment is to something on the material plane, which actually is not really mine or yours to do, or which is actually not really in alignment with my highest idea. It just felt like a good thing to do at the time, because maybe I got caught up in the day-to-day life. Maybe I got caught up in, they did me this favor, so I really ought to, do this in return, right? And so we can get caught then. Sorry, I'm moving a lot, Michelle. So I can get caught then in the day-to-day, or I can get caught in this material plane rather than returning and focusing on the larger commitment, the real commitment, the commitment to the transformation, the commitment to spirit, the commitment to self with a capital S. And so I've somehow managed to get off track, and then I realized that not only am I resisting, I'm resenting, right? Like, no. But what this too is an opportunity. It's an opportunity when we're curious about it. It's an opportunity then to go, all right, you know what? I am going to follow through on my commitment, because that's just me, for me, being in integrity. I'm going to follow through with my commitment. But when this opportunity comes around again, or when similar comes around again, I know that I'm not going to say yes the next time. I'm going to say yes to something different. I'm going to say yes to the greater commitment. I'm going to say yes to myself. And so it becomes a sacred no to whatever else, right? So in that sense, so I don't want you to think that, is your commitment greater than your resistance, that your commitment always has to be greater than your resistance. Sometimes your resistance is greater than your commitment, and that is perfectly okay, because that too is information, right? Bill's like taking it all in this morning. It's like, it's landing, huh? Oh, yes, okay. Right? So here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, we have this high idea. And Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, we have this high idea right there in the middle. We envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation, a world that works for all. This is the high idea that we have here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. We have the high idea of emboldening people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. We have the high idea, we have the vision, we see the possibility of what it looks like, of being an example of what it looks like when a Center for Spiritual Living leads a city or leads an area, leads a region, that what it feels like when spirit leads. We have this high idea. And so we have the opportunity in our daily lives, because the vision, even when we're visioning for the center, even when we're visioning for the world, when we're visioning for centers for spiritual living or whatever we're visioning for, when we're visioning, the ultimate transformation is the personal transformation. It's all about the personal transformation. So we have the opportunity then to look at the high idea for our center and see where we are in resistance within ourselves. Where are we personally in resistance to, a world that works for everyone in all of creation? Where am I experiencing some resistance to that idea? Where am I experiencing some resistance to being a leader in our area? Where am I experiencing some resistance to emboldening people to live their highest potential? And then collectively, where are we as a community resisting that? And then the question becomes, is your commitment greater than your resistance? Is your commitment to the center? Is your commitment to the organization? Is your commitment to yourself and to spirit greater than your resistance? Because spirit can only do for us what it can do through us, as Ernest Holmes said. It can only do for me what it can do through me. I have to be the vessel, the vehicle, the channel, the spaciousness, the transparency for the divine. I have to be the avenue of awareness for the divine to move through me into this realm of existence, because that is how it works. It moves through each one of us into this plane of existence. So if I want to be the power and the presence of love on earth, I have to be open and available and not resist the power and the presence of love moving through me and doing that which has been called for me to do. Because it's not me, Jeffrey, and it's not you, any of you, that is doing the work. Who is it? It's the spirit within that does the work. It's the divine within that does the work. So when we recognize that it's the divine within doing the work, there is infinite energy. There is infinite time. There is infinite space. There is infinite availability through which, as which, it shows up. These hands are not my hands. This body is not my body. These feet, not my feet. This life, not my life. This life, these hands are the hands of God. The body of God. It's the life of the divine expressing. So who's really doing the work? The divine. Spirit, God. So the prayer then becomes, use me. Here I stand, a vessel to be used. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. It goes to the mystical, the you, not the you that's separate, not some you that's way out there, living on a planet somewhere or anything. It's not you out there. It's you that's in here, the divine within. So we say, command my hands, what must they do? And so we step into a greater commitment. We step into that transformation. We step into and allow ourselves to be the vehicle, the vessel through which the presence of love manifests in all of its magnificent, glorious, individual ways. That's what we're about. That's why we're here. That's what we do. So I ask you, my beloveds, is your commitment greater than your resistance? Because the only obstacle The only resistance is the ones that we place in front of us. Through our mind, through our thoughts, through our beliefs, through our own limiting ideas. That's the obstacle. So are we ready to let that go? Ready to release it? And say yes to the transmutation, which is transformation, but it's transformation to a higher level. Are we ready to let it go and open ourselves to an even greater possibility, to Spirit's highest idea for our lives? Once again, is your commitment greater than your resistance? Breathe it in. I invite our practitioners to please stand and surround the sanctuary, our core council members to join them in doing so. Michelle, I'm going to come down here a little bit. Ooh, look at all y'all. I love it. Ooh. Fantastic. All right, so everybody else look around the room. These are your practitioners and your core council and our ministers, and they continue to lift this community high in love and high in prayer daily. I invite you to avail yourselves of their services, avail yourselves of their prayer, avail yourselves of a practitioner session. So look at these beloved faces. So let's come together in consciousness now. I recognize that right here and right now, there is this one power, this one presence, this presence of love, this presence of life, this presence of peace that passes all understanding, this presence of divine wisdom. It is everywhere present, all-knowing, absolutely all-powerful, because it is the one power, the one presence, the one life, the one love. This one I choose to call God, the divine spirit. It goes by many names, and it doesn't really matter what we call it, because it truly is just the one. It is truly all that there is. And recognizing that this one is all that there is, then all of life, all of creation, therefore must be that one substance. There is only the divine substance, there is only the divine mind, so therefore all of life, the entire universe itself, is the manifest body of the divine, is the manifest body of the one, because there is nothing else for the universe to be. Because there's nothing else in the universe or beyond the universe, there's only the divine. So therefore, I have to be that too. The very who of who I am is the divine made manifest. The very who of who each one is the divine made manifest. All of life, all of creation is divine, is the divine in full, glorious, magnificent expression of itself. And so I am one with the one. I am that I am. I am the presence of love, the presence of life, the presence of peace, the presence of joy, the presence of abundance, right here and right now. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of all of life, of all of creation, of everyone present here this day. I know that this is true of this community, that we are that. There's absolutely nothing else for us to be. Therefore, I know that we are one with one another, that we are each brothers, sisters, and siblings in this one life, with all creation, and with each other. And so I speak my word here and now for this beloved community, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, recognizing and knowing that our commitment is far greater than our resistance, that we are called by a high idea, we are called by Spirit, we are called by the grand vision that Spirit has, that Spirit is fully expressing, that we are called to that we are pulled to that. And so we let go of, we release any ideas, any false beliefs, any limiting ideas that would appear to hold us back. We let go of any obstacles that appear to be in the way. We allow them to return back into the nothingness from which they came, because they were just a thought, they were just an idea, and they can easily be moved and shifted and allowed to be and rest and return back to the nothingness. For truly they have no power over us. There is just the one power, the one presence. And in the face of that power and that presence, only light shines. And so anything unlike the power and presence of the divine, anything unlike that is dispelled, simply falls away in the realization of this truth. And so we commit here and now to being the vessel, being the transparency for the divine, being the avenue of awareness for the divine mind, for the direct revelation of spirit, for the direct emanation of spirit into this realm, into this dimension where we currently reside. We commit to living the high idea. We commit to being in alignment with the high idea itself. We commit to our own transformation. We commit to spirit. And in so doing, we are fulfilled. And so I give thanks for this realization. I give thanks for this truth. I give thanks for this knowing. And I give thanks for the commitment of each one here. And so I release this word now into the law, assured of its fulfillment, because it is already done. And together we affirm, and so it is.
Love